You good?
Hey, Mitch, I like that intro, man. That's cool.
It was
I
pretty
like
dope.
that.
Y'all share this link.
Yeah, actually, that's my outro. I've
Oh,
got a totally different intro that I would love for you to see.
yeah,
It's
definitely.
really
That's
good.
cool. That was definitely cool.
Thanks, sis. Thank you. Yeah, I don't know what the heck. We had some technical difficulties, Mitch. I knew it was Mitch the whole time.
It's all my fault.
Well, it was
It's all
an
my
outro, so
Yeah, all you have to do, Mitch, if you want to disconnect it, like just your channel, is at the very top. Like, don't hit end. At the very top, click your drop down and then hit remove.
Yeah. So, but that was the, like, on the desktop that I have right here. There's the end stream button up on the top right, but there's a leave button on the bottom. On the phone, it doesn't have that. So
Yeah.
on the phone, it just has the one thing. So I
The
hit
one
it.
end. Yeah, I know. That's
Yeah.
why I would just close out the whole browser. Like, because I'd be scared. I'm like, I'm about to end somebody's live stream.
I mean, it was the end of mine at the moment. So I know that we just lost all that conversation, but yeah, I mean, atheists will always come back.
Always. Yeah. So sorry
And
for
our
everybody.
channels
we
are
lost.
connected. So
Yeah. Just share the video with everybody. All right, let's get back into it. Where
we were talking about the gospel was simple.
Yeah, the gospel. I was going to share something on the gospel too.
Go for it.
Yeah, so I think a good start on that is like they were talking about the gospel being, foolishness, it doesn't make sense, right? How is it just simply by faith, right? That was one of the questions that we were talking about. And so you go to 1 Corinthians 1:17, it says, "For Christ didn't send me to baptize, but to preach the gospel, not with words of wisdom, lest the cross of Christ should be of no effect." So it's not this lofty wisdom that the world has that someone can be saved. It's by the wisdom of God through the gospel, the word of God, to hear the word and believe. And that's what brings salvation. It's by your hearing, and in your heart, you profess that I believe in that. And God looks at your heart. He's the discerner of your heart. And so it's simply by hearing the gospel and believing it in your heart. So this isn't anything that man justifies you before God. It's that God justifies you before God. He's seeing you, and he looks at your heart and justifies you through the gospel that you hear with your ears. And if it's genuine in your heart that you're surrendering or believing the gospel, that you can be saved, because the cross is what the power of God. It's not lofty words of wisdom. Are you still hearing me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the next verse, "For the message of the cross is foolishness to those who are perishing." So the people who are perishing, it's foolishness. And that's why they always go, the gospel, what do you just believe and you're saved? That's foolishness. And that's what's interesting is you got already, Paul inspired already said that, is that it is foolishness to the world, but to those who are being saved, it is the power of God. So it seems like foolishness to the world, but it's by the power of God that they can't see. Just like they can't see gravity, they can't see where the wind blows, they can't see why the lightning is generated, but he saves us by the power of God. So we hear the gospel. The message of the cross is foolishness to those who are perishing, but to those who are being saved, it is the power of God. And it's like, where is the scribe and the disputer of this age? Hasn't God made the foolishness of the world? Has not God made foolish the wisdom of the world? So the world's wisdom, he's making that be actually foolish, because you can't be saved by the world's wisdom. For since in the wisdom of God, the world, through the wisdom of this world, did not know God. So through the wisdom of this world, you can't know God in an intimate relationship. And so it's only through the wisdom of God that he gives that through the Holy Spirit when we're born again. So it pleases God through the foolishness of the gospel to preach those to who believe. For the Jews, the sign, and the Greeks seek after wisdom, but we preach Christ and him crucified. He's just like, I count everything as nothing and rubbish to know Christ and him crucified. And I think it's in like Philippians or something like that.
Yeah,
But
counted all as dung. Yeah, Philippians 4, I believe.
yeah, and then to Jews it's a stumbling block, but to the Greeks it's foolishness. But to those who are called, both Jews and Greeks, Christ is the power of God and the wisdom of God. And no flesh shall glory in his presence. And that's verse 29. No flesh will glory in his presence, because it's based on the wisdom and the knowledge of God. So God actually, guess what God wants to do? He wants to take children, people who are foolish, the foolish things in this world, to put to shame the people that they're wise. That's what he flips the script. He doesn't take the worldly wisdom like, oh, like, you know, Bill Gates, all these wonderful people, all their wisdom, you know, they have all these, you know, amazing businesses, and they've created all the, you know, these amazing products, and they think that they're wise, but in what's interesting is they don't believe in God, and eventually they become the fool. And God has chosen the weak things, those who are willing to humble themselves, or the weak things to put to shame those who are mighty, and the base things to the things that despise God has chosen.
That's
and
right.
The things which are not, to bring the things which are, and bring those to naught, because no flesh can glory in the presence of God, because Christ has become to us the wisdom from God, and the righteousness and sanctification and redemption. So it's Christ alone, that God is the only one that gives us the wisdom of God and the sanctification and our righteous standing, that Christ is the only one that gives us that. And so, yeah, it's not by words of my speech and my preaching or persuasive words of human wisdom. That's not how we're saved. It's not by some persuasive words of human wisdom, but it's in demonstration of the Spirit, of the power, that your faith should not be in the wisdom of man, but once again, in the power of God. So it's in what you can't see. It's not based on what you can physically see or touch with your hands. You know what I mean? And so that's all I was going to kind of just read that down, and kind of an explanation of how we're saved by the gospel. And to the world, it seems like foolishness, because, oh, you just got to believe and that's what you're saved. But it's that God wants our heart and our life to be looking and turning toward him, and to receive the free gift of salvation in Christ.
It is belief, but, you know, the Bible also says, you know, if you believe there is one God, you doeth well.
Yeah.
Even demons believe and tremble. So the difference in just your simple belief is you have to receive it. And in John chapter 1, verse 12, I believe, or yeah. For those who received him, to them he gave the right to become children of God. There's so many people that are blinded because they won't receive that there's a God. They don't believe that there's, you know, Hebrews 11:6 says, you know, you got to remember that God is a rewarder of those who you must believe that he is, and he's a rewarder of those who diligently seek him.
That's right.
So if you don't believe that there's a God, and you don't even open your mind to the concept of being there is a God, some people are blinded by their own ignorance and their own hate. A lot of times it's just hate. No, I refuse to believe that there's a God, because if there is a God, then I'm not my own God.
Yeah.
And I'm not just stardust. I'm not some accident. There is actually meaning. And the biggest way I take away out of it, you know what? If I'm wrong, nothing happens. But if you're wrong,
Yeah.
it's a terrible thing to fall into the hands of a living God.
That's right. Amen. And guys, we do have a guest on. Do you mind if I pull them up, or does anyone have anything last to say before I?
Oh, I'm good.
Oh, good. Okay. All right. Hi, Chewy.
Hey, how's it going? Can you hear me okay?
You are crystal clear. Perfect.
Cool. All right, it's the first time doing this. How y'all doing?
Sweet.
Blessed. How are you?
Good, good. Yeah, so I saw your prompt. I'm an atheist. I've been one for about 30 years.
Welcome.
I just wanted to see what you guys wanted to talk about as far as atheists go.
Well, we could go over some of the questions that you had on your channel, Mitch, or statements from atheists on your channel. Do you want to do that?
Yeah, so really the main thing that we like to discuss as like one of the main points is the objective and subjective morality, right? And so one of the, I don't have it anymore, but the comment section that has been going crazy on my channel has been all kinds of different stuff. Okay, how about this? We're gonna try to challenge one of your one of the main points of atheist belief, right? That has to do with like worldview and morality.
Hold on. I don't speak for all atheists. I am me. We don't hold a consistent worldview between all atheists. It's just one person, one opinion. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what would you? Okay. So why don't you go ahead and describe yourself, and we can go from there.
In what way? I'm just
like what do you believe?
As far as the
like
world,
what things do you strive for in society? In like society and stuff, and thriving society.
Yep. Well-being, minimization of harm, independence, and bodily autonomy.
Okay.
Pursuit of happiness, as long as it's not impeding on other people.
Okay, so basically, that would be humanism or secularism, wouldn't it, Kanisha?
Both. Secular humanism, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yeah. So it would be both. Okay, so those are the two that you would hold firm to, right?
Well, I mean, sure. Yeah, it's humanism is just the well-being of humans, and secular is without God. So it's one and the same in this sense.
So let's do it this way. Here, how about let's do it this way. I'm gonna do it this way. I do something a little unique on my channel. So I'll just ask like a simple question, and you just give me a simple answer, and we'll just go back and forth like that, so we understand each other very simply without assuming. Is that fair?
Sure. Absolutely.
Okay. Do you believe that morals are objective or subjective?
Subjective.
Okay. And what's your definition of subjective?
Dependent on a mind.
Dependent on mind, you said?
Yep.
Okay. And culture?
Yep.
Okay. Bye, Todd.
Yep.
Bye.
Yeah, because what's good for one culture is not necessarily good for another. There's no one position that's right for everybody or right for everything. I mean, there are things that I personally hold that are never, permissible. I don't think rape's ever permissible, slavery, child molestation, and that is never justified. But I don't think there's one, objective standard that those hold to.
So that would be more than you would agree from your personal perspective, an objective truth that nobody should be raped, nobody should be a slave, nobody should be a pedophile. These are like absolute truths for you, right? Regardless of, like, you wouldn't go to Russia and they say, hey, it's legal here to rape kids, and you go, oh, okay, good, sign me up. You wouldn't be like that, right?
I see no reason for that to ever be acceptable to anybody.
Okay, so that was so I just want to make, because we do have some atheists, believe it or not, that come on the channel and they say, well, if they say it's okay, then I guess majority rules.
To that culture, it's okay. Maybe that's what they grew up with, but I don't have to agree with that.
Exactly. No, I agree. So what is your evidence? Well, no. That's I'll wait for that. In your belief, your worldview, is there such thing as good deeds and bad deeds? Good and bad, I should say.
Relative to what?
Anything. So is helping a lady across the street who's in a walker a good thing or a bad thing?
I think that's generally a good thing.
Okay, so like you have a general sense of what something good is versus something bad.
I think context is important and intent is important.
Of course, for sure. Are there any absolute goods?
No.
Any absolute bads?
I mean, other than the ones I already listed as far as, rape, slavery, and pedophilia, I don't see that ever. I mean, you say absolute, like what's holding to absolution? I don't know. It's just in my opinion, I don't think those things are ever permissible. But Just because I don't doesn't mean there's other people that think it's okay.
So for me personally, I'm not speaking for nobody else on the panel, nor do I compare myself to any other Christian. When I speak personally, if I say a word, I mean exactly that word. So an absolutely means like absolute. Like I don't mean like, oh, this definition here and there's a definition there. Like my words when I say it is exactly. So if I said baby, I literally mean baby. If I say brown, I literally mean brown. And I don't need to, like, me personally, I'm not speaking for them. I don't need to go into like, well, what is your definition of this? Because there's like 50 shades of brown. Why don't we talk about every shade of brown? It's like, no, I don't need to do that. We can just have like simple conversations, you know, without going too much in depth. So just me personally, when I ask something, just know that's me, okay?
Yep.
So do you believe that there is absolutely no God?
Yes, I don't believe in the existence of any god or gods in any sense or definition that I've been presented.
And do you think that's because there's a proof there's no God, or just because you regardless if there was proof, you wouldn't want to be associated with him?
Those are two separate things. First thing, I don't see evidence of God. I don't think that there's a reason for God. I don't believe in the supernatural, or no ghosts, no spirits, no demons, no angels,
Nothing.
no gobbledygooks in the middle of the night. None of that. Nothing. The only thing we live in and can be present with is the natural world. 100%. Everybody across the world. That's the only consistent thing is the natural world, and that's what I live and
so that would be
present in.
So that would be materialism as well. So you believe you're a materialist as well. So it would
if you want to call it that, if that fits your definition of materialism, yes. Then this is the world we interact with and the world we feel every day. That's
we cannot have any kind of like. There's nothing outside of the material realm. It's all like nothing beyond the material realm. Correct?
I don't see any
in your view.
I don't see any evidence for any of that. No. Or reason to interact, or reason to pretend that there would be.
Do you think that there's something? Do you think that everybody has a choice to do what they want? I know earlier you were talking about kind of like this freedom, like you believe in. Okay, so do you believe absolutely everybody, no matter what, can do whatever they want? Freedom of choice?
No.
What about freedom of belief?
No, I don't think you choose your beliefs. I think your beliefs...
Elaborate on that. Elaborate, because I'm confused. I'm sorry.
Sure. Can you choose to believe that the sky is red?
No.
Not honestly, right?
Well, you can if it is red, but not unless it's red.
The world we live on, the sky is... I mean, not a sunset or a... I mean, middle of the day, noon o'clock.
I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. I know there's times where the gradient goes from purple to orange, whatever.
I gotcha.
You can't not go against what you hold to be true, in the sense like you can't, like I don't know, what's the guy in the hat in the middle, his hat's red. Right. I can say it's a blue hat, but I don't really believe that, and right. I don't think you can choose your basically choose your beliefs, if that makes sense. Like,
yeah,
if you're presented with evidence, you can either ignore the evidence or believe it. But as long as you're ignoring it, not taking it to to its fullest extent of what it actually means, you're either being ignorant or lying.
So then there is absolute truths, right? Like if I were to say Mitch is wearing a hat, which Mitch is the guy in the center.
Yeah.
If I were to say Mitch is wearing a hat, that's an absolute truth. Like I'm not making that up. That's not my belief system. That's not anything.
I feel that's consistent. Yes.
Okay. All right. So at least you believe that, because we do have some atheists that come on that say, well, your perception can change, and it's not, and it drives me nuts, Chewy. I'm not saying that you're the same. I'm actually enjoying the fact that you're being very direct. I appreciate that about you. It's a rarity. And I just appreciate that. So there are some things, well, everything has evidence, correct? Do you think that?
Sure. Some of it can be good, some of it can be bad.
Right. Good evidence, bad evidence. Okay, but there's evidence for everything. And your argument is there is no evidence for God. Like, do you believe science explains everything? And if you don't have an answer, you could just say, Kanisha, I don't know right now. Let me think
No,
about
no,
it.
I'm
Like,
just
it's
trying.
not, I'm not trying to.
No, it's perfect. No, I know. Well, I just need to word it right. That's all. I don't want to confuse
Take your time, dude.
anybody. Yeah,
Take your time.
I think science is our current best explanation of the world we live in. The scientific process. There's no hard science. This is exactly what this means. This has to be this way. It's never changing. It's just this is our best explanation of what we have right now. It could change in 10 days. It could change in 10 years. We could learn new things, and our worldview changes.
Okay. Yeah, because I agree. I think science tells us how things work, but I don't think they tell us why things exist.
Not in every sense, no. But that's where my naturalism comes in, is everything is here naturally.
So explain that to me a little bit more, like, especially because you are so different, it's refreshing. Explain to me what you mean by that then, for as far as you're a naturalist on top of that. Like, how?
There's nothing in this world that I can see that can't be explained naturally. The winds, the rotation of the earth, the sun rising, the radiation we get from it, the rivers being formed, tides, life. I think it's all just come about naturally.
And so do you think like everything came at one certain point in time in history? Or do you think one thing came, like, do you believe air came first and then gravity or something?
No,
how do you like in your brain, like?
Yeah. No, I think the fundamental laws of the universe have all been set out, and the results of that have given us air, have given us gravity, have given us water, hydrocycles, life, chemistry. It's the world working how it does, but I don't think there's anything outside of the natural world that creates where we live.
And so from your current belief in your current life right now, because I know everything changes with all of us. As we get older, we learn more and stop believing other stuff and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
And your current belief, you said you've been an atheist for 30 years.
Yeah.
Are you saying that you are absolutely certain that there is no evidence for a creator that created everything, and that absolutely for certain nothing, like everything just fell into place? Is that an absolute certainty in your
No, I mean, there's evidence that people that I'm presented to, that other people are presented to, that it's not good enough for me to believe in the supernatural world or deities or gods or anything like that. That evidence may be good enough for other people, but I don't accept it.
No, I agree. There's evidence that people have brought to me too, with spiritual things and all this stuff that I just don't believe either. So
Sure.
I don't down anyone for thinking that. My thing is the creator, like,
Sure,
like God, because I don't care about Hindu gods and all that. I don't care. Okay, I'm a
I don't
Christian.
either.
So when I say God, I'm specifically talking about Yahweh God,
The God of the Old Testament.
So
Jesus.
God,
That's different.
God,
It's
well,
not.
it's the same, but hold on, we're not going to get on that right now.
Sure,
It's
sure.
going to change the whole. It's going to
Yeah.
change the whole
Yeah,
thing.
we can stick with my world views, whatever you want to do. It's your show.
So, do you think science points to design?
No.
How not? Explain why not.
I mean, I don't think there's anything in this world that looks like it's been designed.
Nothing.
Nothing. Okay. When you say design, oh, no, okay.
Like if I took a can of paint and I just dropped it on the floor, we cannot say, "Oh, that design." Nobody would say, "Oh, that designed itself," right? But if I took that can of paint and I got a brush, and started stroking and like creating something, you could say, "What a beautiful design, Kanisha." Like, we know.
Right.
We don't have to be like rocket scientists to know if something's designed in, like, a building. Do you say that accidentally came together? No, you know somebody designed the building, right? When I say that, that's what I mean by.
Sure. Okay, let me work you through a couple of scenarios that I've in my head.
Go ahead.
When you have a beetle in the desert and it gets a pile of poop and rolls it into a ball, you see a ball.
Dung beetle.
Did that beetle design the ball? or did it occur through natural processes in its mind? Did it think I'm going to build a ball, or did it just in its natural world think that I need to get this ball of poo and roll it up and take it to my nest for my kids to feed?
I think he was designed to do that. Because why do they all do it? Like think about that. Why do they all do that? Why are they all called dung beetles?
Because they have
all
instinct.
repeat that. Well, where does that instinct come from?
They're from nature. They've been selected to live in that ecosystem under those circumstances. The first beetle that found a little nugget of poo was able to, roll it up or carry it back to its nest, and that learned behavior, passed on to its generation of kids, and that learned behavior, and it's taught. Same thing, the same way that bees make a hive. Bees aren't intelligent. Wasps aren't intelligent. Fish make nests. Birds make nests. These aren't intelligent animals, but they still make things through natural processes.
Yeah, but the thing that you said earlier in that same statement was, they were selected, and we would agree.
Yeah,
through natural processes.
Selected.
Yes.
But natural processes, random natural processes, cannot select anything. That has to be, someone has to pinpoint and select something to do
nature does
thing.
They live in an ecosystem where they survive or die and don't pass on the genes, or they do.
But whether or not they survive or die doesn't mean that they have to push a ball of poop around. That doesn't have anything to do with their survival. That's just something that they do.
That absolutely has to do with
surroundings or anything like that.
They use that poop functionally as a water source.
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about but all right, Kenesha, go ahead. Sorry, I got off track.
Why would a god design a beetle to need to have push to poop around, or to push poop around?
I was going to say, because everything has a purpose. There's an ecosystem for everything. That's the amazing part of it. But I was going to say natural selection, literally only explains variations of things, but not why they exist.
Okay.
What can your science, my science, whoever does the science, scientist, explain why something exists in the first place?
Again, then in my point of view, it's the natural laws of the universe that have brought our planet together.
But if there's
chemistry
laws of
together,
the universe, Chewy, there would have to be a lawgiver.
Not necessarily.
Then there couldn't be laws.
Why not?
Because law means what?
A fundamental concept of the universe.
That's not.
There's descriptive laws and there's prescriptive laws. Like there's a law to not speed. That's different than a law of gravity.
So we're talking about the law that you're talking about right now. Yes,
that's the fundamental laws of the universe.
Right. So that means that they have to.
Why?
Do what?
Describe the world we live in.
So by law, law is like a set in stone. You have to operate this way. Like in layman's sort of simple terms, you have to operate this way. Okay, so the law of gravity, the law of what's another one?
Thermodynamics.
Light, anything like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's explaining like this is what has to happen in order for this to happen. It's a law set, right? So if something is set, how can all of these laws, because there's multiple laws, let's be honest, there's multiple laws. How can all of those be set on accident so precise that everything falls perfectly into existence?
There's nothing precise about it. We live in a world of chaos and turmoil all the time. We found a equilibrium where we're at now, but 99.99% of the universe we live in is inhabitable to us, and most of our Earth is uninhabitable to us. 75 to 90% of the water on Earth we can't drink because it'll kill us, or the animals inside of it'll kill us. We live in a hard, dangerous, fierce world. We've kind of taken ourselves out of it with technology and agriculture. But if we didn't, we'd still be living 20, 30 years and, banging on rocks.
Well,
why do you believe in...
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Mitch. I've been talking long.
Sorry. Why do you believe in gravity?
Because I can pick up a pen and it'll drop. I can see the effects of it. I can interact with it.
Because it's consistent and you can study its consistency, correct?
It's predictable. It's measurable. It's it's
Right, just
we
like the rest of
can
the universe.
uh
And so
sure.
through natural causes, just like the dung beetle, right? Every dung beetle is going to do the exact same thing. All right. It's not
Well,
just taught. You
if
just
it
said
doesn't,
you
it'll
just
die.
hang on,
Yeah. Go
hang
ahead.
on. You just said hang on. You just
Mhm.
said that they're not intelligible. So how can they be taught if they're not intelligible? How can they pass down any kind of
That's a valid question.
teachings or anything like that if they're not intelligible to begin with?
I think behavior can be instinctual. It doesn't have necessarily have to be.
Because
Go ahead.
because it's consistent, and that's the whole
No,
point of it. It's consistent.
no,
Yeah. Yeah.
no. If there's animals that vary from their natural behavior and natural instincts all the time, but they just die and don't
So
pass
do
on the
we.
genes. Absolutely. That's
So
why
do
there's a
we.
thing called the
Yeah.
Darwin Awards.
Right. But here's the thing though. So when if someone jumps out of that natural, what happens?
They can't. What do you mean? You can't break any natural laws of the world. If you
But the natural laws is set in place, right? Like there's no deviating, because if there was, then there was no need of studying it or anything like that to get to know it. Because like you said, it's predictable, it's something that we can test, it's consistent.
Mhm.
But if that's not the case, now so it's either one, right? So the natural laws of the land, or the natural laws of the universe rather, is something that is consistent, and it's something that cannot change.
as far as we can tell. Yeah.
Right.
I
So
don't yeah.
so wouldn't that be more of a blind faith?
No, absolutely not. Because I can, interact with it. There's no faith involved whatsoever.
But wait a minute. Yeah, there is, because there's trust. You trust that gravity is going to hold your butt to that seat.
Trust is 1,000% different than faith. Faith is binary.
No,
Faith is a
no.
1 and a 0. You have faith or you don't. Trust can be on a scale of -100 to a +100. You can
That's not true,
distrust
because
someone.
faith and trust, that is faith. Faith
Nope.
is
Yeah,
trust.
that
It's the
absolutely
exact
not.
same thing.
translates. Video translates to absolute trust, like complete trust.
Mhm.
I don't speak Hebrew. Or
That's not
Greek.
Hebrew.
I don't speak Greek. I don't. So, in my opinion,
Video's Latin.
But she didn't. She
Tanisha,
explained it to you
I don't know you.
in English.
I have a unbiased opinion of you as far as how I can trust you. Of the three of you, I'm not saying one of you is more trustful than the other.
I know.
Someone who stomps on my toe, I can trust them less. I don't have less faith in them because I never had any
Yeah.
to begin with.
Yeah.
Faith is a binary.
No. But I'm
100%
talking about
believe
something.
or not.
Yeah, but that's the thing. So you trust that gravity is going to hold yourself to this planet.
I have no reason not
Okay,
to
because you
believe
know
that.
that it will be consistent tomorrow. That is faith.
I live my life like it's going to be
Blindly,
consistent
I
tomorrow.
might add.
I have no reason to think any different
Because why?
because that's the world I've lived in. And that's the world that's always been lived in.
No. Because everybody else before you lived the exact same way. Why? Because everything, including gravity, is set in stone, and it will not change.
Okay. What's that got to do with faith?
Well, that's faith. That you have
No.
more faith. You
You
have
can-
more faith.
No.
Listen, you have more faith in just dropping a pin to the floor and saying, yeah, that's going to continue to happen because I cannot see how it doesn't or how it will not. That's faith. That's a trust. 100%.
Okay. You can call it whatever you like. I have no reason not to live like it doesn't exist.
Okay, great.
Well,
So that, but again, go ahead, Kenesha.
Well, I was going to say, I want to touch back. I want to reel back into natural selection, to be honest, right?
Sure.
Because that's where you believe. So I want to kind of tailor made to you since you're the caller. I'll try to word this as best as I can. My issue with natural selection means that something already had to be there for it to be selected from. So what was the original something?
I'm going to just give you a disclaimer. I'm not an evolutionary biologist. So
Understandable.
when I have, trust in things like what scientists give us. It's the same kind of trust as you give an airline when they say their pilot is certified, the fuel's been filled with fuel before you take off in your flight, and there's enough oxygen in there. It certainly can't be, but I am trusting the experts in the fields to do their job properly. So I can give you my best understanding, but if it doesn't necessarily agree with the experts in the field, I can't be held account to that.
No, and I understand that. It's just like for me though, like trying to say that everything started from nothing is like trying to say, you know, this was already beat before it even started, like a race. Like you already beat the race before it started.
Who's saying everything started from nothing besides theists?
Well, that's what I was asking you earlier. That's my point. What I was trying to get to you earlier was, what is this? What was the thing?
I don't know.
That's kind of what I'm asking now.
I have no idea.
Because I think this is where we say you guys have blind faith too. Okay, but it's unfair because an atheist will say, no, we don't. But actually, you also do, because you don't know these things as well, but you believe it. You know bits and pieces, and you accept the bits and pieces, but you don't know everything. And
nobody
it's kind
can.
of frustrating for a believer, because sometimes it's like we try to tell you we don't know everything God does. And then we'll get cornered into a corner and say, well, since you can't tell us every single thing about God, then you know what I'm saying? It's like the same thing, but even an atheist can say, I don't know everything. I just believe what I do know.
Sure, but I also know a bad answer compared to no answer or no answer is better than a bad answer.
But how do you know how do you know what's a bad answer and what isn't?
If I walked up to you and I say what's 2 + 2 and you say banana, I know that's a bad answer.
Okay, right. but it doesn't matter, because it's all. I mean, it you know, if everything is just random, and we're in a universe full of chaos,
yes,
and laws change, then that could one day become banana. So that's not a bad answer. That's just an answer taken out of its time. It hasn't quite gotten to that point yet.
That's like saying there's like a multiverse and every answer is the correct answer. You can't live your life like that.
Well, I agree, and that's the point. That is the ultimate point, is that there is in the atheist worldview, and I'm going to say for all atheist worldview, okay, there is no such thing as objectivity. And if you say there is, then you're being inconsistent for this very purpose alone.
No, there's no objectivity for anything, as far as I can tell.
But murder is absolutely wrong.
No.
Okay, cool. So now you're being consistent, because earlier you said yes.
I said yes. What? That murder.
You said that there is something. Things. What was it, Kanisha, that he said that was absolutely like it was like a crime or something like that? Maybe I missed it.
And pedophilia were the three that I hold as to be inexcusable. But there's nothing stopping.
Okay, but that's still subjective, correct?
100%.
Okay, cool. So I just misunderstood that. I apologize.
Well, then why? Let's go into that real quick. So then, why is there such thing as like the justice system? Like, would you want somebody to be held in court for if they raped a 5-year-old? Like, would you want them to go before a judge and be sentenced to the correct punishment for doing that, mutilating a 5-year-old? Or because it's so subjective to everybody, can't that judge say like, well, it's really not that bad? Would you consider that judge to be a just judge?
No,
like realistically.
Not. No, but the person deserves a fair shot to begin with. You can be accused of anything. I can be accused of murder tomorrow.
Of course. We're saying in this case, the guy did it. Okay, he did it. He's going before the judge. Okay.
Yeah. No, I don't have the false sense of judgment that you guys have. I don't think people need to be punished for their crimes. The world is a cruel, violent place.
What? So it's okay to do that to a 5-year-old?
No, absolutely not. Let me rephrase that. That sounded different.
Please do, because that just shot it up. Man.
I gave you the 3 I said before.
Good Lord.
There is no absolute judgment, is what I'm saying. People can get away with whatever they get away with. They do it all the time. Billionaires will poison villages and genocide entire cultures. and there's no
But wouldn't you
repercussions for
like a
them.
world that is more objective, that has more objective laws that actually give you that kind of justice that all humans, whether they want to admit it or not, we all want justice for wrongdoing.
You
So
can
wouldn't
want
you
anything you
rather
want.
that? Wouldn't you rather that though?
Sure. People
Okay,
should
good.
get
Well,
what they
we
deserve.
offer this to you.
No, you don't. You don't offer that to me. You say that
Okay.
there's something that does, but there's no
Yeah.
proof of that thing.
This is what's
There
this
is.
is what's strange to me about the atheist community. Okay, this is what something all atheists have in common, right? And this is not disrespectful, I promise you. It's strange that an atheist who says that the world is better without God can never just flat out say something as much as raping a child, abusing people, murdering people is absolutely wrong. Like, to me, this blows my mind.
I did
And
say
I
that.
can talk to anybody else. I can talk to Hindus. I can talk to Christian. I can talk to Muslim. I can talk to whatever. And they go, well, of course, like, duh, like some of this stuff is like absolutely wicked. Who would agree to this? But you'll talk to an atheist who says the world is better without God, but we can say something as flat out as, is raping a 5-year-old wrong? And you go, well, it depends.
I
Instead
never
of
said
like
that.
absolutely saying, you damn right that is wrong, and I would never stand for it. Like, it's, to me personally, it is the strangest, most darkest thing I have on this panel. I talk to atheists all the time, and I talk to all religions all the time. And the number one people that shock me as atheists when they can't just flat out say something is wrong.
I gave you those 3 things when we first started: rape, slavery, and pedophilia.
But
Yeah,
you
never
said it's
what
subjective.
should happen is you should say, no matter
Yes.
what country you're in, no matter where you're at, I would never, like, you would fight against that. You would protect a child. Like, I don't see
Everything is
any-
subjective.
but that should be an objective. Like, there is no question. If you walk past a child getting hurt on the side of the road in Russia, and it's legal in Russia, you shouldn't keep on walking by because it's legal.
You're absolutely right. I never said that that's okay. I said, to me, that those things are completely inexcusable all the time.
To
anytime.
you.
Yes.
To you. We're not talking about to you. We're talking about objectively.
Like, period.
We're not talking about your opinion. That's the problem. We're not talking about your opinion. We're saying objectively. And objectively, like what Kenesha was just saying, if you see anywhere in the world you go to, it doesn't matter what universe you're on, whatever, okay? And we talked about multiverse, all right? It doesn't matter what universe you're in, anything. It doesn't matter. If a child is being raped right beside you, you should not allow that. And nobody ought a moral objective opinion, okay?
You can call
should
it that.
not be okay.
No, I agree with you. I
And
never
it doesn't
said
matter
anything
your
different.
opinion. It doesn't matter my opinion. It means objectively.
Like, period. Like,
No
you can
opinion.
never say, well, if it's okay in this country, then it's fine in that country because it's subjective. Like, something mentally that's crazy mentally to even say.
If it was not subjective, then there wouldn't be people doing it.
No, that shows
that doesn't
like,
make
that
any
shows
sense.
rebellion. That
Why?
shows that doesn't show any morals are morals. Like, you can't say just because that doesn't make sense, brother. I'm sorry, Chewy.
What part doesn't make sense? You're taught that it's wrong. I'm taught that it's wrong.
If it's, well, hang on a second. So if it is absolutely wrong, okay, to do something, all right, that does not mean that there is nobody that will ever do that thing. That doesn't make any sense. And that is the rebellion of the heart. That is somebody who is going against their moral code.
When you say objective, I'm
that
talking
is
about
found
in the
deep inside.
in the same sense as gravity. There's nothing you can do to escape gravity. It's always gonna be felt. If that's what I mean by objective. There's
but who's
nothing
to
you can
say?
do.
But
Hold
who's
on, let
to
him
say
finish,
that
Mitch.
gravity?
Let him finish real quick, Mitch. I want to hear what he's trying to say.
If these things that everybody knew was so wrong, so deplorable, so horrible, if it was objective, there'd be no question of people not doing it or not. Nobody would do it because it's objectively horrible. But there still are people that do it. Because
that still doesn't follow, man.
But there's also people that can know it's wrong and do it also.
That's everybody.
That's
Sure.
exactly what. So you just
No.
contradicted yourself,
No,
bro.
no, I didn't. No, because if you go to one country and they eat dogs or cats or whatever, that's perfectly normal then. But in our culture, that's not okay.
How much porn have you watched?
Irrelevant.
I don't think so.
Why?
How's that irrelevant?
Yeah, how's
What's that got
irrelevant?
to do with anything?
That's harming somebody else that you are taking pleasure in.
Why?
Mhm.
How is it harm?
You know a lot of those. Do you know?
Because-
Okay, you don't know me from Peter to Paul, right? But
No, absolutely
I was a victim, a child victim, okay, of being horribly used. I'll just put it that way in very light words,
Mhm.
by multitudes. And people that say what's wrong with it, just like how casually you just say what's wrong with it, don't even know that sometimes they're watching a child on screen because that child looks like an adult.
That's absolutely correct.
So
Yeah.
when you're not thinking about it and you're doing something just for pleasure, are you saying that you're innocent? Because you're the one that's paying for these people to continue to do it. You know that, right?
I've never paid for porn.
Free porn is paying for somebody to get.
People get paid. Yes, you're correct.
A
People
lot
get
of
paid.
people-
with
There's
you watching
monetary
it, you are
exchange.
feeding into the machine.
Okay.
Not only that,
So,
you are keeping
don't have to
victims.
pay
I'm
money.
speaking from
You
experience.
no, Kanisha, you were 100% in your experience that there is horrible conditions that some of these people live through. 100%, and I don't condone that by any means. But the general act of two consensual people making a video, I don't see any issues with, or 3 or 4 of whatever sex, gender, race they feel like being.
But
with.
what you don't understand is what's behind the curtain is, and this is not going to be
No,
about that. But
I
I'm
don't,
telling
and
you,
I can't.
just because you don't see that on this, you think on the screen they're consenting to each other. You think that a lot of times, and sometimes they are. Okay, some people are flat out. I have a friend growing up who literally did it for that was what she did.
Mhm.
Okay, but there's others who are forced to do it and who are being blackmailed to do it if you don't follow along, and you have to show the audience that you are happy with it, but you'll never know that. And that's what I'm saying. There are things people do wrong every single day, and they say, I don't see anything wrong with it, but they have no idea what's actually happening behind those doors.
No, you're 100% right. If I eat a steak, I don't know if that animal was butchered humanely or was
Right.
tortured or lived in a pen or had its legs broken or force fed. I don't know that. That's, remember what I said earlier is the world is a horrible, dangerous, chaotic place. I don't think that there's,
But how do you know that?
because I can see the evidence in Kanisha's experience.
So in Kanisha's experience, is that objectively wrong?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, debate's closed. Yeah.
I'm going to agree with
So
your
that
objective
is
wording.
inconsistent.
Yes, there are things in this world that
That is
are
inconsistent.
inexcusable. Yes. There's no
Yeah,
no
not to you,
justification.
but objectively. Not to you, but objectively. Your opinion don't matter here. Neither does mine.
Well, someone's got to matter. I mean, morals come from minds.
Comes from God.
The mind. Thank you.
I'm going to strongly disagree with that.
Where does it come
hang
from?
on. I do want to point something out that you just said. You said that it comes from minds, correct?
Yes.
Where do those minds get it? Where do they come up with it?
Through lived experience and teachings and culture.
Okay, so that's what makes something wrong is through somebody's doing of that thing.
Or the learning of other people going through situations like Kanisha and passing that knowledge along to other people.
So if nobody ever knew about what Kanisha happened to Kanisha, okay, is it still wrong?
Yes. Because it happened to
Okay,
Kanisha.
why?
Because it happened to her.
Why?
She lived the
No.
experience. She knows it's wrong.
No. But if it happens to the next person, is it still wrong?
Yes. I never said
thank
that
you.
act was
So-
right to begin with, whether people know it or not.
So I'm saying, other than opinion, okay, is this thing that happened to Kanisha absolutely morally wrong?
You keep going to this other than opinion. That's all we have. Like I agree.
That's not all we have.
I agreed with your objective thing. Yes, it's wrong. There's no permissible excuse for it whatsoever. You can say that. Yes, fine. Like you don't have a gotcha on me. I don't know what you're trying to prove, by me agreeing with you that
I'm just asking you questions, bro. You're the one who's being inconsistent here. I'm just trying to ask you questions.
Okay. You're
All
using
right, so
different definitions for things, but I will agree with your definition that yes, it is objectively wrong.
Tell me what, just real quick, and I'll shut up.
Yeah.
What definition have I misused in this panel? Go ahead.
Objectively.
What is objective? Tell me, and then we'll look it up.
Something that happens regardless whether mine or not. I'm telling you, I'm trying to word it, bro. You don't. It happens regardless of whether or not. Like gravity. Gravity happens regardless of a mind. Electricity happens regardless of a mind. That's objective. It's going to happen whether their minds or not.
Objective means that there is no opinion, nobody's opinion included within that. Okay, so it's a moral ought.
If there are no people, then there's no right or wrong.
That right there I disagree with, because I think that it doesn't matter if it happens to anybody, or if it does or if it doesn't. It doesn't matter. What matters is that thing, without it happening to anybody, is objectively wrong.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. Objective view is free from personal feelings, any kind of biases you have, or your own personal interpretations, or in focusing, but it's focusing instead on the facts or evidence. That's what objective means. So subjective is based on all those things. So what he's trying to explain is objective is something that's not based on any kind of personal. So yeah, it's not about you. And that's what he's trying to say, is it's not about you. It should be that, rape, steal, kill, and destroy is actually something that's actually evil. And we don't have to do the act. Like they say, like, hey, I don't, when I'm born in this world, we've got no moral compass. And so now I need to still kill and destroy and commit adultery and do all kinds of sin to figure out, so this is what sin is. Now I got to decide, because I've committed that sin, is this okay to do? Because it's based on my subjectivity. Like, I got to decide if this is okay. Well, for Hitler, it was okay to do, whatever killing to the Jews. So to him, it was okay to kill, a whole race of people,
right?
But to us, it would be like, that is crazy. You can't live like that. So 100%. We're talking about objective, that there's literally like taking from your neighbor, or committing adultery. Like you're in a committed relationship. It's not okay for your spouse to have relations with another person. It's not okay. But without objectivity or objective worldview, it's not really a big deal that, I can have sex with this person and that person. What does it matter? So
that absolutely relies on subjectivity.
Yeah. But then it becomes chaos and evil. That's exactly what it boils down to. What relationship works out that you can just have sex with anyone and there's no boundaries? When does that ever work?
I don't know. I've never been in that situation.
Yeah.
Well, so you got to experience it before you realize it,
and it's not right.
So you have to.
It doesn't work.
Sure. Yeah, you have to.
That's their lived experience.
So yeah, it's like, so stealing is something you got to find out if stealing is evil for you, and so you got to go out and steal a whole bunch of times, and then go like, maybe is this wrong? But I think the more you steal and you're getting away with it, and you're not getting caught, and there's no penalty, it seems like it's okay to keep stealing because I didn't get in trouble.
Do you think
I'm not hurting myself?
Is stealing objectively wrong?
Well, of course it is.
Yeah.
If a mother needs to feed her children and she steals bread from the grocery store, is that objectively wrong? Should she be punished for that?
Well,
she can get help.
Yeah, I think.
Can she? And there's always options. She could win the lottery. She could get God or manna from God to feed her family. That doesn't happen though. But right now she's in a situation to where she needs to feed her family.
See how the scoffing has to come about. The scoffing has to happen
because
you cannot stop.
God can provide, but He chooses not to.
But He instituted government to be able to.
We can get into that.
We instituted government to be able to provide for these kinds of needs. And so
Not
God
always.
created the government.
There's government. There's people that live in governments that don't give a shit about them.
But and that's true.
And
But
that's
here's the
because
thing:
they
if
don't.
we do our
That's
good
because they don't
part,
believe in God.
right? And if we do our part as we're supposed to be doing, and we're not all selfish
happens.
and subjective, right? I do what I want the way I want to, and we actually help our neighbor and love our neighbor, we wouldn't have this problem.
Sure.
But a lot of times, the ones who are claiming, calling wolf about not enough resources, so kill the babies because there's too many overpopulated things happening in the world, are the same ones who are not out there extending a hand, but instead the church is out there extending a hand. That's a truth. It's a fact. It's a fact. You can look this up. This is a very well-known thing.
What church? There's churches out there that are absolutely horrible organizations.
Yeah, they're called hypocrites.
Like,
they're called the hypocrite church.
Right.
They're not even born again.
You can't just say the church.
That was
not.
No. I say the church. When I say the church, this is a biblical thing. Okay, not a worldview. The church doesn't mean a building, and it doesn't mean what you think when you say there's a lot of bad churches. There's one church, biblically speaking, and that's Christ Church, those who actually belong to Christ, which are completely separate from the churches and the organizations and all that stuff.
It's a spiritual body.
We don't belong.
I'm just laughing because you said in the beginning, when you say a word, it means what you say it means. I'm not
saying
you're,
and that's exact.
Yes.
That's
so
exactly
there's different definitions to one word, right? When I see
she literally church. No, there's one definition of church. Period. Biblically speaking, there's one.
She literally just gave you one definition. She did not try to give you 3,000 different.
I'm not saying your definition was wrong. I'm saying I have a different definition than you do.
But there's not different definitions.
It doesn't matter.
There's only one definition.
Then why do I have a different one?
Because you have a different you have
you came up with
idea.
I didn't come up with it.
I didn't
build churches.
Church is, but you're not in the church, so you wouldn't know what the church is, and the church is not a building.
Is it consistent through all religions?
No.
Then how can it be one unified?
We're not representing. We're representing Christianity. We're not representing any other religion. So it doesn't really matter if any other religion is doing it. It doesn't
thousands
matter.
of denominations of Christianity.
Yeah.
No, there's not.
But yes, there is.
There's different.
Have Sean look it up. Sean's got Google open right now.
Listen.
Sean, how many different branches of Christianity are
there? It doesn't matter. Let's move on.
Kanisha, absolutely matters, because you're trying to say you have a unified view.
It does.
And if people can't be consistent in what they believe from a church, then obviously there's discrepancies in what's being taught.
No, listen. There's one church. There only ever has been one church. Christ said, "On this rock I will build my church," singular. This rock, singular, build my church. And those who just say that they're Christian or say I live the Christian experience doesn't qualify you as a Christian. Do you know what? Hold on. Do you know what, biblically speaking, qualifies somebody as a Christian, as a believer?
Someone that says they're a Christian.
Nope.
No.
You can't tell anyone.
That's the absolute.
Nope.
Actually, that's the exact thing that Christ said. This qualifies you. What is, biblically speaking, someone who is actually a Christ follower?
Someone who asks Christ into their heart and for forgiveness of their sins.
Not all. No. Faith without works is dead.
Christ is your Lord. If you make Christ your Lord and Savior, now to be Lord of your life means you follow Christ. Not, I claim Christ and I still go do what I want to. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's the hypocrisy. I just do whatever I want to. I don't have any Lord over me. Yeah, on Sunday I do. Okay, he's not your Lord then. He said that he's your Lord, and you accept him being your Savior.
What
he did on the cross,
Savior from what?
From ourselves, from our punishment.
Our punishment from what?
Sin
and death.
Sin. Where did sin come from?
Sin came from Satan.
Satan. Did God create Satan?
Yeah. And guess we have free will.
So sin came from God. Could God have created a world without?
Into a rabbit hole now, man, and you cannot get out of this rabbit hole alive.
Let's do it. Can God create a world without sin?
Sure, he could.
Why didn't he?
It's going to happen.
Does he like sin?
It's going to happen.
No.
That means nothing, Sean.
There's going to be a world without sin.
Right.
It's just that you need to be made a son of light so that you become set free from this world, so that now you can be in that new world where there will be no sin.
Hey, Jose.
How's it going?
Yeah.
So basically, when it comes down to it, okay, Wait, Kenesha, was you gonna say something?
No, go.
So does God?
Okay, so
God knows everything, right? He's omnipotent.
Correct.
So he knows when he created us, we were going to sin.
Correct.
Yeah.
100%, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So he created us with the intent to sin because he knew it was going to
No
happen.
choice. No, not the
No,
intent.
because it was
Why?
our own free will.
Choice.
No.
He
Choice.
gave us the free will, so he knew it was
Choice.
going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
he knew it was going to happen, but he didn't want it to happen.
But he can obey. But you can
He
obey.
could have created a world without sin.
Do you have
Without
choice?
Then
suffering.
you ain't you don't know nothing about that. Like you would not know the difference between right and wrong, or you would not have chose him. Like you're not choosing him now. There would be nobody to choose him willfully because it would just be a robotic love. It would just be something that you are made to do, and nobody wants to do that.
Instead, he's got a gun to your head.
I guarantee you that
Love me or go to hell forever.
Hang on a second. I guarantee you that if you wanted somebody, if you showed love to somebody, are you married or do you have a girlfriend or anything like that?
No, I'm married. I've got a kid. I've got 2
You're married.
dogs.
So would you want your wife and your kids to love you because they want to love you?
Yeah, through my actions. Yes.
Right. So
and for me,
so
to love them back.
exactly. Yeah. So that's exactly in this story, right? So God literally said, "Don't touch this one, but you can touch all this that I created for you. Everything is good for you. You have dominion over
the one
all. You can do what you want, but do not touch
tree.
this one thing." And guess what we
the
did?
tree of good and evil.
Yeah, exactly.
So if
knowledge
they,
of good and evil.
So if they don't know
Yep.
what knowledge is, what good and evil
Knowledge
is,
of
They
good and
actually
evil.
knew because they
How?
disobeyed.
no, if you don't know what's wrong,
They
and then
already
you do
knew
something,
before.
They didn't.
Yeah.
That's why they did it.
Hold on now. They committed idolatry with the serpent that was in the garden, right?
Who
Even
created the
before
serpent? Who created the serpent?
well, God, right? So,
God. So God knew what the serpent was going to do when he created it because he's omnipotent.
yeah, exactly.
So God created the serpent knowing he was going to tempt Eve into eating from the tree of knowledge of good and evil.
Well, yeah, exactly.
But does that
So then-
temptation have to absolutely end up in conclusion with sin?
That's what
Does
God
it have to?
does anything happen without God wanting it to happen?
No. That's not what I asked. Answer the question. Does God? Okay. If you are given a temptation, does that mean you absolutely have to act on it?
No.
Thank you.
But when
So that's
God
exactly
created,
what happened here.
but God knew it was going to happen. He created the
Okay,
serpent.
fine.
He put Adam
But
and
he
Eve
did not
and the tree.
predestine it to happen. He
No.
foreknew it.
yeah, he
He
didn't
didn't
choose
not
it.
predestined.
Pretty much.
Okay, hold on, y'all. Let Chewy talk. Let Chewy finish his sentence. We don't want to talk. There's so many Christians on the panel versus one guy. I don't want to keep let him not say anything.
No, it's cool. So in my mind, I see this story written. Okay, let me go back, way back. Let's go at 1,000 feet. To me, I see this book. This book is written 4,000 to 6,000 years ago, in the middle of a desert, by a tribe of nomads. Yes, passed through different generations, edited by man. We don't know any of the authors. Moses, I don't think didn't exist.
Oh
Do you think? No, I'm trying to say the historicity of this book you're quoting has no substance for belief. What? Moses didn't exist. There was no slaves in Israel, or no Jewish slaves in Israel. Genesis didn't happen. There was no global flood.
Oh
none
my
of this,
God. So
I mean,
everything
in
that
that
you,
book-
I'm sorry, Kenesha, but I just have to point this out.
Do it.
Every bit of what you, like, I thought you were actually wanting to have a decent discussion here, but
Yes.
everything that you just, everything that you just laid out was incredibly, number one, it was completely false. And number two, it was completely biased. Okay. I thought you were actually getting somewhere with this. Now I know that you're just biased and you're never going to change your thoughts.
No, not from a Bible, not from the book. That book's not going to teach
Yeah,
me.
because you don't want it to be
No,
true.
because I've got
That's what
subjective
it is.
morals that disagree with that book. Okay, the 10 Commandments. Do you believe that we should be held to all 10 Commandments? Do you think we should be punished according to the 10 Commandments?
I think when it comes to the moral code, yeah.
What is the punishment for working on Saturday? According to God, it's death.
So
I mean,
so listen.
So right there,
There's more to that. There's more to that.
No.
Yes, there
you're
is.
stoned to death
there's
for
a deeper
working on
study
Saturday.
on that.
There's no
Definitely.
deeper.
There's a much deeper study than that. It's not
Yeah,
just
because-
it's not just black and white like that. There's
That's
there-
what
there's
the book
there's a
says.
lot.
That's if you're reading a book and it's written in text, it's black and white.
Okay, look,
You've got the
so
Ten
I
it's
Commandments.
actually sometimes red. It's actually
So-
sometimes red. Thank you very much.
The pages, the words on the pages are black and white.
Okay,
That's all-
that's
you
not what I
can
meant,
interpret-
and you
you
know
can
it. That's
interpret
not
it.
what I meant, and you know
Okay.
it. You know that's not what I
saying-
meant.
No, that's what I meant.
Okay, fine, but that's not what I
Okay.
meant.
Okay.
So whenever I say it's not black and white, so here's the thing: if you're wanting to jump into the Christian realm, then you must understand what the Christian realm is. You must understand what the Bible says about this stuff. You cannot come to this in complete bias and unknowledgeable.
no, I used to
You
be. A Christian.
cannot do that. If
I'm
you
not
want to be,
unbiased.
if you want to be taught, I can teach you. We can teach you. No problemo. All right, but
No, okay.
you have you cannot just barge in to the Christian worldview and be like, no, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. I mean, you can't even tell me what wrong and right really truly is anyway. So it doesn't really matter what your opinion is either way. But you cannot barge into the Bible and start commanding a bunch of stuff. You can't do that.
Can
You
do
have
that
to
the Quran?
understand the full
So-
context of it.
Do you have to understand the Quran 100% to know what's right and wrong in there?
I'm not
Or
talking about the
Bhagavad
Quran.
Gita? No, I'm talking about from my
I'm not talking
from
about
my
the Quran.
perspective. Do you know? I'm giving you my perspective in the same sense that you can look at the Quran and know that that's not true, or the Book of Mormon,
Mhm.
or the Buddhist writings. Do you need to understand those 100% to know that you agree or disagree with them?
Well, did you?
No, because
well,
I understand
I've
this.
read them. Actually, I've read them.
Okay.
So I did have to read them first before I can come to a conclusion. I couldn't just read one page and say, "Oh, this is stupid." Like I had to read and understand the whole context, everything happening, more than just read a page and go, "Yeah, this is just dumb," and put it down and say, "I know it's wrong." That
No, I've done more than just read pages of the Bible. But that
But-
doesn't mean I can't disagree with it.
Yeah, but what we're trying to say here, and what I was trying to say is, you cannot just say, you cannot ask the question, what is the punishment for not having the Sabbath or not obeying the Sabbath? Okay, well, there's a lot more to that. And then whenever I say there's a lot more to that, you say, no, that's not, no. You can't do that.
Okay,
You
tell me
cannot
what
do that when you're dealing with the scriptures. You got to know what you're talking about before you come
according to the
barging in the
book,
door.
That story is pretty straightforward, right?
No,
Moses
it's not.
goes to the top of the mountain. Jesus gives him, or the God gives him commands. Yahweh. He
Mhm.
takes them back to his people. Those are the rules of God for the Hebrews.
Mhm.
That seems relatively black and white. There shouldn't need a lot of context.
Yeah,
for,
because all the
if a
pages
teacher-
and words are black and white. Yeah.
If a teacher posts rules on the classroom, is there room to interpret those, or are those the rules of the classroom?
No. It's not room for interpretation. What I'm trying to tell you is that you're just looking at the Old Testament. You're not even understanding the fullness of what Christ did for us, and you can't.
I don't think Christ did anything.
You can't understand that.
So, yeah.
Well,
Okay.
and that's your problem because you don't know.
No, okay. You're saying what Jesus, first of all, let me start. Okay. There's multiple things. I don't think Jesus' death was a sacrifice, according to Yahweh. Yahweh's blood and sin sacrifices needed to be held in church, and they were burnt offerings. He was put to death for heresy and treason from the Romans because he was a blasphemer. When someone gets executed on death row, that's not a sacrifice. He was a criminal in the world he lived in. No,
Wow.
yes.
There's so much wrong with that.
There's not-
Anisha, we don't have the time to break any of this
we're not
down.
going to go over that. That's not you got a lot of the story
Good
mixed
Lord.
up, and that's not your fault. Like
Okay.
you don't study the Bible or anything like that, so it's not like your fault that you don't know that. But
No,
that
I'm
was
not.
incorrect, okay?
I'm not a biblical scholar. No,
I know, but even you don't have to be a scholar to know that was not the right interpretation. Very out of order.
All right.
Yeah, but it's fine. That's not the point of what we're gonna go here. Let's get back onto subject. Okay. So from you being an atheist, you believe what happens after you die.
Nothing. We return to the earth we came from.
Okay, so you returned from the earth that you came from. Do you know that that's biblical?
Adam was made from mud, right? Like, or he was a golem and then given life, like God breathed his breath into him.
Human literally means humus. That's where we get humus from. Human, earth. So yeah, so everything about even your words that you explain what humans, mankind, earth, everything like that has everything to do with creation. But I'm telling you, so you're saying back to the earth where you came from is a biblical belief.
I say that in the sense that my energy, my stored energy, my meat, my bones, my molecules will be reabsorbed into the earth, and other animals will absorb them and grow and take that energy with them. And that's where I came from. I came from the energy of other animals, other minerals, other plants, and
Well,
absorbed
no, you
them.
came from your mom.
Right.
You
And
came out of your mom.
she
and your
drank
dad.
milk and she ate food, and that provided me with resources. And I grew and I ate food, and I took energy from the sun, vitamins from the world, and did the same, just like I
Right.
do with other animals.
So when you
But,
die and you say
like,
you
what
go back to
happens?
where you come from. Sorry, Jose, I'm gonna let you go after this because you've been trying to talk.
Yeah.
When you go back to where you came from, that literally is because man came out of the ground, but you didn't come out of the ground. But why is it that we put you back in the ground?
Oh, I want to be buried at sea. I don't want to go back in the ground.
But see, don't do that. Don't do that. We're going
You're-
so good.
you're-
I'm like actually enjoying you a lot. You know that that's where we've always buried humans. Why?
So other animals don't come and desecrate the bodies. But that's not always. There's cultures in the world that feed their dead bodies to animals. It's a thing called sky burials, where they'll break
Yeah,
up
and
the bones and feed them to the birds.
Napoleons, I think, do that. whatever.
Exactly. So not every culture does that.
But anyways, we're talking about, like, we're talking about like the physical body, like,
Yes.
so like what happens to your soul, like your soul?
There's no-
I mean, actually, you don't believe you have a soul, right?
I don't believe in a soul. No, there's
Yeah,
nothing
exactly.
separate from my
Okay.
mind.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, I can't ask you anything because I mean, since you don't believe in a soul, I mean, it's gonna go nowhere. But obviously, the physical body, you believe that, yeah. I mean, there are different ways to bury a body or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, yeah, I was just gonna ask you about the soul, and I just remembered. Oh yeah, atheists don't believe in souls, so
No. Why do
I
you
guess
believe
never
in
mind.
souls? What evidence do you guys have that something
So how do you
outside of
explain
our brains
conscience?
is
Explain conscience to me.
chemical reactions in our brain?
Explain how you can talk to yourself in your head.
That's natural. Just like I said, it's all chemical reactions in our brain. Our
Chemical
emotions, our
reactions
feelings.
cause you to
Yes.
talk to yourself in your head.
Yeah, they're thoughts. They're neurons firing inside of our brains.
Is that
cause that.
scientific?
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. We can.
science,
They're
you're saying
measurable. They're
science has
testable.
figured out the conscience.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
science can't figure out
the-
consciousness.
if
Because
if
the
you
last update I have, not to cut you off, Chewy, the last update I have, science actually says that's the one thing that we still have not yet figured out. So I'm curious to see where you're getting that from.
because this testable and measurable, you can put scanning equipment on a brain. You can activate different senses of your body, touch, warmth, sleep, tiredness, and you can monitor those in the brain.
You can monitor
so-
them, but you don't
Yes.
know. That doesn't tell you why they exist.
If
Again,
you
science
stop
tells
the
you-
electrical feed in the brain, or you damage the brain, your consciousness is gone. Right? It's 100% linked to your brain. You can't exist without your brain. If you suffer severe brain damage, that will alter your personality, and you change.
But you don't cease to exist.
No, you can still exist, but your consciousness isn't the same as it was before.
But that doesn't change your person. That doesn't change who you are.
It absolutely can.
Well, someone has a really good comment for you. She said, "Is love a chemical reaction?"
Yeah.
How do you explain love?
Well, I mean, it's an emotion you get with a closeness and relationship with the people around you, or the friends or loved ones. It's I don't know what you mean. It's chemical.
Like how does it work? So since science has got down conscience, which that would be a conscious thing, you have to consciously love somebody. You can't unconsciously love somebody. You have to decide, right? So since science has got down the conscience, explain how that works to the best of your ability.
I've explained it to the best of my ability. I'm not a neuroscientist. I know it's chemical interactions with our our brain and our inside of our bodies. If we don't get certain minerals, if we lack minerals or water or certain chemicals that we're deprived of, we will behave different. If we lack sleep, we'll behave different. There's different physical, material things that can change our interaction with the world. We can start hallucinating. We can start getting angry. This is all physical, chemical, material interactions with our brains.
Well, I'm just asking because again, just on the page, I'll be quiet real quick after this, but I'm just a quick Google, nothing going into detail. I can do it later though if we want to, but it says science, the conscience. Science has not figured out the conscience. It remains one of the biggest unsolved mysteries, often called the hard problem. So that's why I'm saying, where is this chemical reaction? I get other things are chemical reacted, but science has not yet currently, I'm not saying it's not possible, has not currently figured out to this day how consciousness works.
Okay. Cool.
Like how you can like sense something about something, you know, how animals can sense something about, you know, a certain person. You're like, what is it seeing? It's seeing something beyond the physical. Like somehow an animal's even able to see things that are outside of them. And so it's not physical. He's not physically seeing something on them.
No,
he's
but he
seeing
can
something in them that's almost spiritual or something, because
or they can have a bad smell or a sound that bothers them. There's more than just touch and sight. There's chemicals that we secrete, pheromones or hormones that we emit that are all physical things. They're chemicals released from our body. They interact with the world and animals and plants and things around us.
Like, you know, when you get around like a negative person and they're just really negative and there's just this dark cloud around them and you just want to get away from them. And then you get around someone that's just like really bright and they're wonderful and you're like, and you want to be around that person, but
Absolutely.
it's like nothing's physically changed on their person. There's nothing physical there. There's something going on spiritual that's completely outside of the realm of physical reality. Going on.
I'm going to disagree. I mean, people have personalities and postures and breathing techniques and behaviors that you can sense without interacting with them. It doesn't need to be spiritual for you to get a bad feeling or a good feeling about someone. You might feel it's spiritual. I'm not saying you're wrong, but in my opinion, you can rock up to somebody and just get a bad vibe about them. I don't know what that is.
You can sense like a darkness. There's like darkness that can be sensed, and it's something that's not physically dark.
Can that ever be wrong? Is it 100% guaranteed? Are you always right?
Yeah, you get around them every time and there's just black cloud around them and it's just they're really negative person, and you can sense every time they're just very negative and it never changes.
I'm not talking about one person. I'm talking about your experience.
Well, I'm just going with one person, for example. But everyone's their own person, and not everyone. So we're all individually different temples. We're all different people. So we all choose, you know, our direction in which we are. But when you get around and you sense something about a person, it's beyond the physical that you're sensing. That's with your consciousness and the spirit. There's something else going on that you're sensing something about that person. Like, I don't trust this person. Oh, but this person I do trust to put my wallet next to him. This person I will not trust to do that.
Have you ever been wrong in those examples? You feel like you can trust a person. And
so we're not. Yeah, no one's God to be able to be 100% accurate on everything.
So it's just a hunch.
But that means that you can just never sense what I'm talking about. That there is no reality of like something that's really dark about this person, and that's really really unfortunate, because there's a sense beyond where you can read people and you don't have access to that, and you can sense that there's something wrong. Like, I'm not going to go with that person because there's something about them, and you got to go the other direction, and that's a sense beyond the physical to know that you need to avoid that person. And so you I just trust everyone and just follow them, and we're not thinking about anything. Like, when you don't have that,
I distrust.
That's really unfortunate.
Otherwise,
it's unfortunate when you don't have that spiritual wisdom to know the difference and like go, oh, I'm just going to follow that prostitute. It's just like any other good woman. Like, she's I can have sex with her. That's a wonderful thing. But you know, what about going with the right woman that, you know, isn't the prostitute? You know, she's got more of a light. There's something different about her. Like, she's not going to have sex with you on the first date. You know, there's this spiritual darkness that you don't want to be with that woman that is a complete prostitute. There's something very different about that person and the person your mother wants you to date. You know, that good person that's going to treat you right and not commit adultery every second with you. You know what I mean? Because that's a reality. You want a good relationship. You can't just sleep around. You know what I mean? That's not a real relationship.
Right. Amen, Sean. So for you, okay, so for a natural selection, we'll go back to that, right? Because I think we're doing really good with natural selection here. So for natural selection, by your understanding and definition, that everything kind of just fell into place.
No. Everything chaotically came into place. There was nothing natural, or there was nothing smooth about it. It was fighting tooth and nail.
Does the house that you live
today.
in? Does the house that you live in built on chaos?
No, my house was built by a person.
Oh, so things do have order and a sense of construction. Like 1 + 1 is 2, and like
That's
there's
different
literally
than
mathematics, and like it's literally constructed. It's not just random chaos that created a car.
That's my house being built is different than the world we live in.
Well, everything
than
has
the world Kenisha's talking about.
Everything in this world has a builder. Everything has a builder. Our DNA has a builder.
Nope, I disagree.
Our DNA is beyond comprehension.
No, it's not.
That they haven't been able to figure out how DNA
okay. Who built the Grand Canyon? The Grand Canyon's a thing, right? Who built that?
God.
How?
Through water. There's a lot of things involved in that. But water.
We don't.
How about water?
How we build it? Like
no, it wasn't built. There's things that exist in this world through completely natural explanations.
Well, okay, okay. So I don't want to keep going too all over the place. Okay, I just want to get this structured really quick.
Yeah.
So everything chaotically came into place as we know it today.
Mm-hmm.
In short terms. Okay, so DNA is the most complicated, complex thing. I mean, any and every scientist has agreed that DNA is so complex and so unique, and just there's nothing ever like it. How can something so designed and complex come into perfect existence for every single human being?
It's not complex, or it is complex. It's not perfect. It's chaotic too. There's plants and animals born with malfunctions, not breakages, but like people get cancer like through DNA.
That's not true.
Yeah, it is.
That's not true.
Why? What's not true?
Cancer is not passed because of DNA. Cancer is passed because of sugars and things that attack the body and stuff like that.
You can get ionizing radiation that tears through your body and destroys your DNA cells, and it creates
but that's not
malfunctions in the reproduction.
If I were pregnant and I passed that on, something like that, yes, but that wasn't in my genes to pass down cancer to cancer to cancer.
No,
it's not genetic.
I didn't say it was genetic. I said there's natural causes to it. I never said cancer was genetic. I said you can get cancer through malformed DNA.
Okay, well,
that's different than passing it on to your siblings or your progeny.
So for you, DNA is absolutely no way, shape, or form created.
It's chemicals. It's chemical molecular bonds. Yeah. Remember when in the beginning I told you I'm not a molecular biologist, I'm not an evolutionary biologist. This is just my basic understanding. I don't know where DNA came from. I know that the RNA was a predecessor to DNA, and it's a self-replicating molecule.
Mm-hmm.
There's other self-replicating molecules that we don't consider life. There's others that we border on life, like bacteria and germs. They've all got DNA, and they're out to kill us. That's their purpose in life, is to reproduce by harming other things. The only way for these things to pass on their genes is to suck the life out of others.
Sounds like
not literally. No, that's literal. That's literally what happens. Parasites. There's animals that only live off of other animals.
So this is a battle of truth here. So you're spouting off truth claims. Is this correct?
No, I'm saying this is my understanding. I'm not saying this is an absolute truth.
So I don't.
Oh, go ahead.
Go
Mitch.
ahead. Can you? No. Go ahead. I was just going to do some circular reasoning, is what they would say. But go ahead.
No, it's
I'll
nothing circular. There, like came down to in the beginning when I said
That's not what I meant. But I'm talking about me. I'm talking just Kenesha.
Yeah.
What was you going to say?
Go ahead. Sorry, my wife's home and my dogs are barking. That's
okay. I know how that goes. What was I going to say now?
We were talking about DNA and being created. I don't see an evidence of anything being created.
So,
But,
have you ever
hold
genuinely
on,
asked yourself, "Are you wrong? Like, could you be wrong?"
Absolutely, I'm wrong about lots of things. That's the
I
best way
mean,
to learn
about
is to be wrong.
God. Like, have you asked like yourself that? Like, what if I do? Like, what if I'm wrong? Like,
Yeah. What if I'm wrong about Allah or Buddha or Jehovah or the Hawaiian volcano gods? I could be wrong about all of them. Am I avoiding the worst hell or trying to get to the best heaven?
but that's not why we become Christians, though. Like, that's not why we follow
No, but
Christ.
that's the question you asked me.
Right, but I think that's a misconception, maybe, like, because you're not the only one that kind of answer like that. But that doesn't
Yes.
matter. That doesn't matter.
Yes, I could be wrong. Absolutely, 100%. I could be wrong about everything. But I try to live my life as the best I can with the information that I have.
So, I mean, do you have a hope after this life, or what is your hope, right?
To not suffer in my later years, and to reduce suffering of others.
But
ultimately, what does that do? Ultimately, like if other people are suffering, right? What does that matter to you? That shouldn't matter to you, because we all go to to the dust, or in your case, go to the ocean.
But we're
Like,
alive now. We're live now. We feel things now.
But it doesn't matter, because there's nothing to come after. So your legacy means absolutely nothing.
In the grand scheme of things, absolutely.
So I mean, isn't that
so what's the point?
To live my life now.
Like depressing, like knowing that there's nothing. Like, that's a bit depressing. I mean, at least to me, right? I mean,
no, it's not depressing to me.
Like, so do you think all things will end?
In what way? Like, the universe, will it end?
Yeah. Like, will it end? Pretty much.
Oh, I have no idea.
But all right, so you have no idea if your legacy is going to continue on.
It's irrelevant to me.
So why do anything at all?
Because I live.
But what does it matter to teach your kids right from wrong, which you can't even tell me what it is, if that doesn't matter, because in the long scheme of things, you're going to die, they're going to die, we're all going to die, and eventually the whole universe is going to implode on itself, and we're just going to everything's just going to cease to exist. What is the point of existence at all? It doesn't matter what you're doing right now, because in the long scheme of things, it don't matter.
Grand scheme of things, there is no point. I completely agree with you.
Right.
So
right, and the short term doesn't matter either.
Yeah, it absolutely does.
It doesn't matter.
The way the choices I make and the people I surround myself with, increase my enjoyment on this world and increases their enjoyment, and that's all we can do.
But that doesn't matter.
It matters to me.
But that doesn't matter. That's subjective. That means that
I said that's all there is subjectivity.
Exactly. So for me,
there's nothing wrong with that point of view with me.
For me, right? For me, I believe that my legacy can absolutely live on, right? And of course, we have something that is eternal that we go to, right? And we live on after that. So my legacy absolutely matters in the long run and in the short run, because that's why I teach. That's why I teach my children to do what is wrong and what is right. I mean, on that, I actually know and can tell you what is wrong and what is right. But when it comes to the belief that we have, it's all promising. It's something that we get to live in it, and we have something to look forward to. I just don't
Why
see
can't you look
how.
forward to tomorrow with the world you're in now?
Well, I can, and
That's
that's
all
the
you gotta
point.
do. That's all there is to me.
You, but for you, you cannot wake up tomorrow and be absolutely happy.
Why not? Well, first of all, I
Because
don't
you
think
know
anybody's
that
absolutely
you
happy.
know that all things are, because you know that the universe is going to eventually implode itself, and nobody is going to ever, like, all life is going to cease to exist one day.
I absolutely.
Like
I don't know.
there's no promise for anything after.
You keep saying this over and over again. It's a really easy concept. There's nothing inherently
I
objectively.
only said it one time.
No, you explained it to me over and over again that the world's going to end and it's going to implode. Regardless, yeah, I mean, regardless.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, I don't see a problem with that. I try to live my life the best I can now. I didn't ask to be born. Nobody asked to be born. We're born of either selfishness or lust.
No.
Yeah. Or marriage, procreation, because we love each other. Like I'm pregnant right now. I planned this one. I planned my other daughter. Like
Great.
they're not mistakes or.
Did you want a baby?
Absolutely.
Do they want to be born?
Well, they're happy.
The baby is?
Yeah.
Okay. Great. That's awesome. Not everyone's happy when they're born. Not everyone lives great lives. People
My
can be
daughter,
born.
everybody actually said, people in the comments could tell you, my daughter is one of the happiest children you will ever see.
That's good for you. I'm amazing for you and your daughter. That's fantastic.
Yeah, that is fantastic. I'm blessed. I'm blessed to see my child smile, and
I'm glad you have a good life with you and your family.
Yeah, me too.
But what is the difference between Kenesha's? How is Kenesha's ultimately good and the other person is ultimately bad? Because you just said that not everybody is happy.
Sure.
It doesn't matter.
It does.
Because there's no objectivity. That it doesn't matter. Because
these people have to live. These people have their own experiences that they have to live.
But it doesn't matter, because I think that it's wrong and you think that it's right. So really,
you keep saying it doesn't matter.
Really
it matters. It matters to the individual. People's feelings matter. Your feelings matter regardless of their of afterlife or not.
So let me ask you this real quick, and then I'll probably like close out this one for this conversation.
Yeah, no worries.
You said that feelings matter, right? And we're believers in Christ, and I don't see any grace for how we feel.
What do you mean by grace?
I see that we want a lot of atheists, not everyone, so don't think I'm saying everyone, because I'm not. A lot of atheists, majority, want to see Christianity and Christians just gone. They don't want Christ. They don't want Christ in the schools. They don't want Christ in anything, right? So if we're all allowed to have our freedom and everyone is accepted to believe what they believe, how come when it comes to Christ, that's the one name that nobody likes except as a cuss word?
Oh, there's other names I don't like too. I don't like
But
Allah or Muhammad. I mean,
the subject.
So I'm happy for you guys to live your lives. I just don't want it to be pushed onto me and in public schools and be ruled through the government. That's all I'm asking.
But wouldn't that be subjective?
Absolutely.
Wouldn't that be,
why?
That's what I've said. Everything's subjective.
But what would be wrong with
that? Because
not
everybody agrees with it. There's people that don't agree, and it should be forced upon them.
But earlier you said that if majority rules, then that's what it is. And
I never said majority rules. I've never said that. I don't know where you got that from. I never said majority rules. No, I think people should be able to live their lives without impeding others. And if you're happy to live your life following Christ, good for you. Good for the people around you.
So I'm going to clean this up for Kenesha here. All right. Because in the concept of things, okay, you did say that. All right. But here's the thing. Would you rather, so the question lies, all right, would you want anything? Okay. Do you care for law and order at all?
What do you mean by care? I mean, I think it's necessary for a productive society, but not all laws and all punishments are just.
So who comes up with that, and why is it not just or unjust?
The society that lives in it. That's why there's
Okay,
different
so
laws throughout the entire world.
that's exactly what Kenesha was saying, is that the powers that be rule over whatever
But the powers can be
people they're over.
cannot force
Yeah.
them. The powers that be can also make a choice to not force themselves onto others. Yes.
But whenever you speed in a non-speeding zone, then that's wrong, and they're going to pull you over for it and enforce the law upon you.
Not always.
Is that wrong?
Well,
Not always.
what I'm saying is, what
Yeah, there's cops that
if
let
there's no
laws slide all the
objective
time.
wrong, like with it, then why is your opinion in there? If there's no objective wrong, if we were to push, because apparently with a lot of atheists, I'm just going to say it. Okay, they can't just flat out say child rape is wrong, or not all, right? I understand we had a conversation earlier, but if you're new to the channel, you've missed a lot of atheists up here saying a lot of stuff. Okay. They can't say murder is absolutely wrong. They can't say hurting a child or killing a child is absolutely wrong, but you can say Christianity should not be allowed. Something's wrong with that.
No, I never said it shouldn't be allowed.
No, but I clarified that I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about majority.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
But Christianity is not allowed. What's wrong with that? Because that is a true statement. You could agree. Hopefully, you can see that Christianity is the number one hated religion or belief everywhere.
I've never seen that.
You've never seen. So what name gets used as a cuss word in Hollywood? What name gets used as a cuss word on everybody's lips, literally everywhere you go?
Why is that?
Whether that's Shing,
It's
whether
just
that's
a colloquial
or
phrase that we
JC.
use. That's not
A good old phrase. See how you don't even see that.
I said a
you're missing it.
colloquial. That's a phrase we use in our society.
In every language, they say the name of Christ as a cuss word.
No, they don't.
I can bet you money.
Do Buddhists say Jesus Christ when they stub their toe?
I bet you every
Do Hindus?
language.
Do Muslims
I know what I'm
say
talking
Jesus
about
Christ?
right now. Every language says it.
Okay.
Okay. What about on movies? Do you see any of them mocking Hinduism or Buddhism or anything like that? It's always the cross.
Have you ever seen Abu? Have you seen Abu from The
see,
Simpsons from the 80s and 90s?
Every scary movie that you see, what are they holding up? A crucifix, holy water, there's priests. Why does it always have to do with Christianity?
Because Christians have done horrible things throughout the generations.
So those would be Catholics that you're talking about, the burning at the stake, because the Catholics, they had power.
There's according to Kenesha, there's only one church. There's
but exactly. I mean, they're not Christians, the Catholics. They were
there's no
persecuted.
According to the Bible, there's only one church.
Do they use the same book, believe in the same God, the same Savior? The same
No,
text?
Catholics, they don't.
They don't use the same book. No, not alone, not by
Well, that's
itself.
because there's 30 different translations.
That's another thing that you're uneducated on.
We're gonna get into another subject.
Okay. So for the longest time, we had the Dark Ages, yes, and that's where Christianity ruled through through Europe.
Well, Catholicism.
Yes. Okay, you try to differentiate. To me, there's no difference. I know
that's just where you're wrong. That's just wrong. But anyway, keep going.
I'm making a generalization, 100%. You can say that it's wrong. I know that the Catholics and the Protestants spread apart, traveled to different parts of the world. I understand that. But you mentioned the cross. The Catholics use a cross, yes? Or a crucifix, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, because they masquerade themselves as people of God and, they're ministers of Satan.
Okay, so when Kenesha says we see them in movies, they're showing Catholics in movies then, yes? Because those are the people holding up the crosses and committing atrocities.
I'm saying the mockery of Christ, everything with Christ, the name of Christ, everything having to do with Christ, that mockery, pure mockery. The world doesn't know the difference between
like now that we're talking about
believers and non-believers. The world doesn't know that. Only believers know, because the only ones that read God's word and know what a believer actually is the one that knows the difference. The world can't tell the difference. That's why you can sit here and you can say this, all these churches and all these buildings and all these, you all the same. You're all the same. The Catholics are all the same. That's why you can say that, because you don't know.
No, I know they're different. I consider them the same. I know there's nuances and beliefs that are different. But when you say Christian, there's no one way to describe a Christian, right?
Yes, there is.
Yes, there is.
I mean, again,
But
a
you can
Christian-
ask 1,000 Christians, and they'll all give you different answers.
Well,
You
So
guys,
then
they're not
test
all
it.
because-
Test them by
you
their
two,
fruit.
you two might be able to agree on an answer, but if I take this over to the Southern Baptists or the Reformed Christian Church, they will give you completely different answers.
yeah, because they don't believe in the
What does
correct
this
way
say?
of salvation. That's why, like, you know,
That
they're
says
not.
people should be stoned for working on Saturdays.
Well, I mean, that was number. Yeah, I
See, the
understand
stopping
that.
has returned. Good job.
Listen, and then we'll end it right here so I can have somebody else on. I don't want to, because you've been great. I actually really been enjoying talking to you. But there's only one truth, one way. Period. Like
Okay.
that's it.
Cool.
It's
No,
always been the
and I'm
truth.
happy for you guys to live your lives how you see fit. That's great. I'm happy
Thank
for you
you.
guys. That's great.
Thank you.
I have no problems with any Christians living their lives and keeping it to themselves, or celebrating with other people in their like scenarios. Do I want my kid to be praying in school? No, because like you said, there's many different denominations. Maybe they're doing it wrong. Maybe they are Catholics in school. Maybe the majority is Catholic, and they're doing Catholic prayers with the Catholic Bible. Do you want that? Or what if you live in an area where there's Muslims and they're the majority? Do you want them to force their prayer in schools
They
for
already
your
are.
kids? Where?
That's not.
But but here, atheism is the biggest pushed religion in our schools.
It's not a religion.
It is. It's a belief
There's-
system.
No, it's not.
It's a belief system.
It's a disbelief system. The only tenet of atheism is the disbelief in deities. That's it. They
Well,
don't
I mean, but
they
you
don't
have-
hold to anything else.
But you have
You-
faith in that unbelief,
You
so
have
it would be a
baggage.
belief
No.
system.
Nope, I don't have faith. I don't believe things because
No, like I'm saying, like you believe that, you know, you believe in atheism. That's what I'm saying. Like it's a
no,
it's a belief
No.
system. Like
it's a disbelief. Okay, check it out. Check it out. You're playing Scrabble, yes? There's another group of people over here playing Monopoly, another group playing Parcheesi. I'm not playing any of those. Am I playing a game too or no? I'm not playing any of those games. So it's not a belief system. I'm not playing a game. I'm actively not playing a game. Yes?
No, because you're literally playing a game. That's exactly what this whole conversation was, is that you have baggage in belief systems. You
No, I
have
don't.
belief systems that okay, wait a minute. At the beginning of the conversation, you just said that you are a secularist, you're a humanist, and you're a naturalist and
That has
materialist.
none of that has to do with atheism.
Those are belief systems. Yes,
None of
it
that has
does,
to,
because
no,
it leads
absolutely
to that.
not. No, it doesn't.
Those are beliefs.
Absolutely, yes.
Yes, those are beliefs. That has nothing to do with atheism.
well, I mean, Charles
Atheism leads
Darwin-
to those things.
Not us. There's Christians that are naturalists. There's Christians or other religions that believe in humanists.
Not in the same way, bro. Not in the same way.
So
That's irrelevant.
It is not. Because here's the thing. When you have a lack of belief of something, so if you take out God from our belief, okay, it completely changes. And that's exactly what y'all have. So y'all fight for stuff. You as a atheist fight for things that you believe in because you have a belief system, you have a worldview that your atheism leads you to.
No.
Okay, well, you can say no, but I mean that
can have
doesn't.
those. I can have those, and it be completely independent of my belief in God.
Well, I just really for real. Like, I hope you come back onto the channel. We do
Yeah,
this. Mitch and I do this all the time.
Wait, I'll keep an eye out. I'll subscribe. I'll come back. I don't care. You guys have all been real nice.
Yeah, you too. I think this has actually been a pretty good conversation, to be honest. I've enjoyed it. You haven't really been like the other ones.
No, I'm not the angry, spiteful atheist. I just want to live my
Well,
life and have
not even
people live
just
their
that,
lives.
but you can't even ask a simple question. Like, I can say, like we talked about earlier, Mitch wearing a hat. They would be like, "Well, that's." Someone can say that.
Let's define a hat. What is a hat?
And it's like, come on, we're not doing that.
Right.
So that's why I kept you on for so long, because you actually can, like, we can go somewhere. We've gotten places. So thank you. I appreciate that.
No, thanks for having me, Kanisha and Mitch.
You're
You guys have a good night, and you can tell your other hosts to have a good night too. And hope to talk to you all again.
All right. Talk to you soon, Chewy.
Thanks. Yep.
Bye-bye. Hello,
Hello.
Mark.
Hi, how
Hi.
you doing?
Blessed. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very well. How are you?
Doing really good. Doing really, really good. The last guy was really nice.
Yeah, I mean, I had some comments on that. I think that he is right when he sort of says that atheism isn't actually a religion as such. And when you say sort of atheism is a worldview, I think that it can be part of a worldview, but I don't think it's a worldview by itself. Like,
I
for
would agree.
instance,
Yes.
you can be an atheist and not be a materialist, for instance. Like, you could believe in just
Right.
say energy, spiritual energy through crystals or whatever you believe in. It's not material, so it's not materialism, but you're still an atheist if you say, well, it's not God's. So atheism is just the answer to one proposition, which is, does a God exist? In the strictest sense, either you say yes and you're a theist, or no and you're an atheist. It doesn't necessarily make a worldview, but it makes part of my worldview. I won't deny that.
That would kind of be like, I would agree with that. And I've said that multiple times on my channel and on this very panel, is that atheism alone is not a worldview, but it does
Right.
come with some baggage. And that's the whole point, is that the baggage that comes along with that is the worldviews that we are trying to challenge. So it's not the atheism within itself, but it's the worldviews that come with, which is the baggage that we are trying to get, kind of go through.
I don't. What baggage would that be? Like, if you're sort of asked, does a God exist, and you say no, is that sort of the baggage that you're talking about? Because it seems
No,
like
that
you're ascribing a whole load of extraneous things, like some outside things, to what atheism is, which is just whether or not you believe that a God exists.
right. So what all I'm saying is that atheism, just like what Christianity in particular leads to certain things. Atheism leads to certain belief systems, like just for what it is, And so, again, atheism by itself, without anything attached to it, is just a disbelief system. I will agree with that 100%. But with that disbelief, now atheists fight for something that's outside of just that disbelief, if that makes sense. Hopefully it does.
Well, Mitch, I really want to push
like,
back on the idea of system there, because I don't like, it's not really a system. It's just that if you get asked, like, does a God exist? And you say yes, then you're a theist of some sort, either Christian, so the religion, like, theist gets broken down into a number of religions. Like, you've got Muslims, you've got Hindus, you've got all of these different religions. And
I believe in a
atheist
God,
is
yeah.
just... Right, they believe in different gods, sure, but they're all theists. They're all under that one category of theists,
Exactly,
like people
yeah.
that believe in a god, right? So an atheist is just someone that says, no, a god doesn't exist. So they're an atheist. It doesn't mean that it's a system of belief. There's no requirement for any other belief attached to it. Like, for instance, a religion, Christianity, you have to believe and follow the Savior Jesus Christ, et cetera, right? Like, that's a requirement to be a Christian, definitionally. With atheist, it's not the sort of saying, hey, you've got a requirement to do anything. It just says, to that one question, that one proposition, does a God exist? You've said no. You could believe in ghosts, you could believe in fairies, you could believe in anything else and still be an atheist. Hey, Kip.
Yeah. So all I'm saying here is, again, like, it's not the atheism within itself. I've said this multiple times. Mm-hmm. It's not the atheism itself that is the baggage or the system. It's the things that lead to it, right? So the atheism leads to certain belief systems. That's all I'm saying.
An example, Mitch, just an example, mate. I wouldn't mind just an example, so we know.
Yeah. So, like, okay,
like Darwinism, or
so evolution.
Yeah.
Right. So, how did Darwin come to that conclusion? Right. I mean, right. He had I don't know if he was a humanist, right? But how did he come to the conclusion that we came from apes, or specifically from a fish and then apes?
Well, he made a conclusion about animals first, so that what he saw was like the finches on Galapagos Islands with their beaks in a slightly different shape. And he noticed that in certain geographical locations, when they were separated from interbreeding, they would have things to help them. They would naturally have all of these different properties to help them. And he theorized that through selective breeding and a natural selection, they would change to adapt or to evolve to their environments. So he started to observe this, and then he sort of observed the same things with, for instance, chimpanzees who live generally in more wooded and jungle areas, and humans that came from the savannah. So he kind of proposed this first about animals and then extrapolated to humans.
So with that being said, and thanks for coming on, Mark. You're the one that asked me
No
for my
problem.
email earlier, right? I think that was
Yeah.
okay.
I was going to set up a discussion or something. I was sort of saying on my channel, like maybe debate is a bit too confrontational, because I do a debate a lot. But I don't mind having conversations as well and
Discussion.
just discussing things. Yeah,
Yeah,
discussion.
either word
Yeah.
doesn't. I don't get like nervous for either word or anything like that.
Okay.
But just thank you for coming. That's what I was going to say. Thank you for coming on. So using Darwin's evolution theory, like with the finches and everything like that, how long did he take, from your knowledge that you know of, how long did he take to watch this happen?
Well, it's not just him. We don't have evolution today just on Darwin's
Right, I know that,
word.
but your example you just gave, like,
I think it was years and years he spent traveling around on, I think it was the Beagle was the name of the ship, going from place to place and solidifying his ideas. Then, you know, as time progressed, we found more and more information to back it up, or, you know, there weren't any scientists at the time. They were called naturalists. They were a lot of Christians, a lot of deists, a lot of different people who just studied natural things. And more and more evidence was accrued to support his hypothesis. But he spent years and years and years on it. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how long.
so the only reason why I'm asking that specifically is because, like, evolutionists say in order to see evolution happen, right, macro evolution, not micro, you need millions and millions of years, right? The changes that happen on the finches, from my understanding, I got an echo somewhere. From my understanding, were slight changes, like in the beak being modified, which we can see that with animals, kids. I mean, my kids don't look exactly the same as their brother and sister, right? Like they vary. So
Yeah.
these are, I don't think that these prove evolution. I think this just proves one kind making another kind, like the same kind. Like it's the same kind. It's just having different variations. I don't believe it's a change in species, like altogether. So can you explain that a little bit more?
Well, if that's the only thing we observed, then sure, I get what you're saying, but there's sort of mountains of evidence that support it. Darwin spent about 20 years studying it, by the way. So macro and micro evolution is exactly the same process. It's like sort of we put a demarcation or sort of a border in between species level changing and a long change, but that isn't a real thing. It's just something that people call it. It's like that we've separated time into seconds and minutes. You know, there's no actual there's no actual physical thing that separates them. It's just we call one thing that goes for a long time a minute, and another thing that's, you know, goes for a short time a second. There's no actual thing there. It's exactly the same process. So when people use micro and macro evolution, they're misunderstanding that they're exactly the same process with different names for time frames.
So do you have an example of where we can see evolution happening today?
Where we can see evolution happening today?
Like where I can, like,
sure.
let's say I can personally, literally, actually book a ticket, fly to some place, and actually see it happening.
Sure. Well, one of the best examples is a family in Brazil who have 6 fingers on each hand, and they're passing that genetically down to their offspring. Like they will have 6 fingers. They're very good at piano playing, very good at basketball. Silver family, I believe it is. There's another one that we can observe that's double density bones. which we get certain people in certain families because they keep passing the genetics along of people whose bones don't break. They go into accidents, they don't break. Problem is they have a hard time swimming because they have density bones, right? Like, so they find it really difficult to swim because they weigh more.
Right, yeah.
Right, but in studying that, we can go, okay, well, if that's beneficial to, say, people that live, say, landlocked, okay, they don't have any access to any lakes or oceans or whatever, that's a really beneficial trait to have double density bones because, of course, you know, not breaking bones is really helpful. But if you're like living on the coast and swim a lot, it's not so helpful. And this is how environment plays into what is selected for and what is selected against. But these are traits that have come up that are being passed along hereditary, and that's all that evolution is. Evolution is a change in a little frequency over time, or to make it simpler, a passing of genetic traits down, beneficial genetic traits down. That's essentially what it is. You're muted, Kanisha.
Sorry about that. So,
No worries.
but they're still humans, though. That's the thing. I can see the traits passing down because that's what happens. I mean, same thing. If I had blue eyes, I keep passing blue eyes, and maybe a brown eye would come and then skip a blue eye type thing.
My color's a bit different, but sure.
Well, but you know what I mean. I'm talking about something as dramatic as like a fish turning into a human. Like, I mean,
right.
There are dramatic claims that this is actually where we came from, and we didn't actually originate from cavemen. The cavemen actually came from this, and then that came from that. Like, so what was the original start, and do we have evidence of it? Not theories, because I know we have theories. Do we have evidence of that?
Yeah, well, we can go back a certain way. I mean, at a certain point, there's got to be, because basically in the fossil record, as you go down layers, you will get like a point where you're not going to find birds anymore. Well, you're not going to find humans anymore. You're not going to find mammals anymore. You're not going to find vertebrates, things with a backbone anymore. And they get towards what we call more basal. So at a certain point, you're only going to find, you know, crustaceans or fish, then crustaceans, then, you know, simple clams, and then this sort of simpler, although that's a bit of a misnomer, it's more basal, until we get to single-celled organisms, right? And that's all that's down there. So why, going back in history through these geological layers, do we just find things that are simpler and simpler and simpler until we get to single-celled organisms and none of that kind of stuff? The reason is because it's developed over time, but we're talking about billions of years. So to see a fish go into a human, we'd have to observe it for millions, if not billions of years. But dogs have actually only been domesticated in the last, 40, 50,000 years max. And we've changed them significantly from being wolves in that amount of time. If you extrapolate that to billions of years, imagine the changes that could happen if you had that amount of time. Like, you can get a wolf down to a pug dog in you know, tens of thousands of years. If you have 1 million, that's significantly longer. You can make much more vast changes.
But wouldn't that be just another case for faith, because you guys can't see these things? These are in a true sense theories, because you can't physically test it in front of you. Something as dramatic. I'm talking, because the reason I'm saying this, Mark, and just listen, like, hear me out, okay?
I am, yeah.
So something as dramatic as God existing, that's a pretty drastic claim. Like, that's like, right. I mean, come on. Sure. It's the same thing in my mind. I won't speak for them. It's the same thing in my mind for you know, if you were to say that we can't see it, we can't really test it or understand it, but we know that this dramatic change, something as so far as a fish to a human, happened. We can't observe it, we can't see it, we can't repeat it, but we believe it. Can you see how equally it's something that is a dramatic claim? I mean, it's not like a small claim, like I put a pencil here to here. You can believe I could put a pencil here to here. This is dramatic. you see what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
from a believer standpoint, how would you convince me of something as dramatic as that?
Okay. Well, for a start, the thing is where it's induction, right? We're extrapolating out from what we see into the future. It's like saying, hey, 1 billion years will pass into the future, and me saying, well, you haven't seen 1 billion years. You've only seen 80 years or whatever your lifespan is, so you couldn't know that for sure, that 1 billion years will pass. The point is, and things like the Pluto going around the sun, for instance, we've never seen that in our lifetime. We've never seen it make a complete circuit, like, ever. But based upon the data that we have of the way that it's happening, that's how we extrapolate that, hey, it will happen into the future, because we've never seen that occur. But we know it's going to happen because of physics, of course, the things that we've studied. Now, for a non-believer, what I would sort of point at is that the amount of studies done on it, one of the most compelling things I think that we find is that we find that there are remnants of viruses in both us and chimpanzees that could not have gotten there by chance. They are viruses that they're called endogenous retroviruses, and they are at the same spots within us and chimpanzees, for instance. Now, the only way they could have gotten there is if they're passed down from parent to child at some point in the past. And there's a few of these viruses that we actually have written into our DNA that we share with fish. Same thing, same location, the exact same virus that's been passed down from father
So
to child.
I think, and I'm gonna let you guys have the floor. I don't mean to hog all the floor tonight. I believe that us having similar traits, and not just traits, but like things like in our blood, in our DNA, and all this kind of stuff. Biblically speaking, Mark, because you sound just as crazy as I sound crazy to you. We're talking about Bible stuff, you talking about this stuff. It just
that's
sounds
fine. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So,
No, that's fine.
but I'm gonna do my best to tell you my beliefs, and you like as you are doing yours. So, biblically speaking, we came from the dust of the ground, okay, earth. Same with the animals as well. Came from the ground as well. Same with the plants. And what's very unique is that there is a similar DNA code between all existence, right? When I say all existence, let me say mammals and plants and humans and whatnot. Scientifically, that has been proven. There's a similar what's the correct word, guys?
Structure, double helix. I don't know.
I'm trying to think of the word, but we're all similar, very similar, like
base
genetically
pairs.
speaking, we're very similar. But that would, in my point of view, and it's not just because of this, but in my point of view, that would line up exactly with what God said, how when he made us and why we are so similar in that case. Like what we're made up of. I can't remember exactly. I'll pull it up while you guys are talking because I don't want to misquote.
I don't think he made everything the same according to the Bible. I could be wrong, but I think that he made humans from dust. But for instance, woman, he made from a rib of Adam, so that wasn't made the same at all.
Right, but woman coming from the original thing made is going to have a
Okay.
DNA similarity to it. It's not because it's
Sure.
duplicating in a way, right? Like, of course,
Sure.
one's woman, one's male, but it's a duplicate.
But I don't think in Genesis that he created the animals from the dust. I don't think it says how the animals were created. I think it just says that he, on the first day, God created the heavens and the earth kind of thing. And then, later on, he just created them. I'm not sure how it was done.
So they all came from, so he speaks of in the scripture, and again, I can pull all this up as you guys are talking. I don't want to hog the mic again. I know I've been doing that all night, guys. I'm sorry.
Are you good?
Oh no, I'm sorry. He does speak of animals going back the way they came from the ground, going back to the
ashes
ground,
to
the way
ashes,
that they were
dust to
created.
dust.
Yeah, but animals specifically, and I'll pull up the verse so I don't misquote anything. But they said they come back from the ground as well.
Yeah, it says actually right here. It says
in Genesis.
Genesis 1:24, it says, "And God said, Let the earth bring forth the creatures
Right.
according to their kind, livestock and creeping
Right.
things and beasts and of the earth according to their kinds." So they came
Right,
from the
right.
dust of the earth as well. Yeah.
Right. And there's
So
there,
so
and
here's
there's
here's my thing. So and I'm just gonna do this real quick because I gotta go. I gotta get up in the morning for work. But so just a quick question, and this kind of aligns with it. So everything that you're talking about kind of sounds like it has a purpose, or it has a structure, like something that is very specific, right? Very fine tuned, right? And I know you probably know where I'm going with this, but would you be an atheist that believes that that everything is basically just random processes put together?
Well, it depends what you mean by random, because a lot of people thinking that evolution is random. It's not random, it's deterministic, right? So deterministic just means it follows a process. That process is governed by natural selection. So, like I said, if you have double density bones, right, and you're a sea creature, for instance, that may not be advantageous. That might be a real problem. Or if you're a bird and you have double density bones and it weighs a lot, that might be a disadvantage. But if you're a bird and you have light bones, that's an advantage. Is it random that the ones with lighter bones and wings survive, are able to fly away a lot better than from predators? No, it's not random, but there is a sense of randomness in it. Like mutations may occur sort of randomly. So those properties, like when you have a child and one is stronger than the other, right? And just say that you live in medieval times where your survival is based upon strength, or you're in a Viking situation or something. Is it random that the stronger child is the one to survive and propagate and the frail child does not? Well, no, it's not random, even though one child being really strong and one being really weak is random.
Right, yeah. So that's what I was about to point out, is that the randomness of this is that one has that and one does not. The randomness
Right.
is not how they adapt to the situation to be able to survive.
No,
That would
that's
not be
right.
the randomness, right? So, but those are two different concepts. But when it comes to creation itself and the way that the universe was created or whatever, do you believe in like the Big Bang? Are you one of those?
Yeah. We've got a lot of evidence for the Big Bang,
Okay.
sure.
Okay. So was that a random process?
What do you mean? Is it a like the Big Bang isn't the origin of the universe, it's the start of the expansion period.
I would agree.
I
Yeah.
don't know what happened before the Big Bang. And since space-time, like the fabric of the universe, space-time, it's easiest to call it the fabric, it's just the background of it. Because that is time, I don't even know saying before space-time or before the Big Bang is actually coherent at all, because without time, you can't really have a before. It doesn't make any sense. So I don't understand what was before that, and neither does any physicist really. We extrapolate backwards to, I think, one Planck epoch after this presumed start, but that's where physics kind of breaks down. So I personally don't think anybody knows what happened to begin the universe.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. Outside of God, of course, in my worldview. But I think,
Well, why do you
okay,
believe that? Like, why do you believe that?
well, that's a whole different thing. So, I mean, we can
Okay,
get into that. That's fine. But back on this, so after
sure.
said Big Bang, and everything just kind of started falling into place and everything like that, was that a random process in itself? Like
No.
the rules that, the laws of gravity and the laws of whatever else, were those random processes, or were those something that had to be put in place specifically?
Well, I don't know about the laws. When you sort of said everything fell into, I'm assuming you're talking about sort of nucleo fusion and things like that, like the
Like
stars
us and
going
the Earth and
supernovae.
everything like that,
Well,
like all matter. Yeah.
Well, that's accretion disks, right? So basically, under the influence of gravity, dust accumulates around large bodies like stars. and it accumulates into like bits and pieces just under gravity, and then it starts to accumulate, and over an incredible amount of time, enough accumulated to start to form bodies, kind of thing. Was it random? No, it's determined by gravity and matter and time and all of these forces in the universe. Did our universe form with those values, like the gravitational constant and things, speed of light, for instance? Was that random? I don't know. Like, I don't have any other universes to check. I can't go, well, does this universe over here have exactly the same constants, or does it have completely different? If it's completely different, well, you know, it might be random. If it's exactly the same, then it's not random, and that's how universes form. I've got no idea because I can't access any other universe. The fine-tuning argument, though, it kind of breaks down, because we don't, like, sort of saying, well, what's the chances of all these forces coming out at the levels we need to form a universe, right? It must be incredibly opposed to it. The problem is that, number one, I don't know how many universes failed to form before this one. I've got no idea, and I don't think anybody knows. Maybe zero. Maybe you could be right. It could be zero. No, maybe it's been trillions. I don't know. The other problem is that I don't know if universes can form under any other conditions. Maybe the universe, in order to form, needed certain conditions that came out like it is, right? Like, for instance, if you get say what is the name of that mineral? There's certain minerals that do not form with any lead in them, right? Like, if there's lead there, the mineral doesn't form. Zircon crystals, right? They do not form if any lead is there whatsoever. So when you see a zircon crystal, you can say, well, what's the chances that that formed with no lead in it? And it's like 100%, because it won't form with lead in it. Yeah. We've absolutely tested this. So, you know, what's the chances that a universe will form with these values? I don't know. Maybe it's 75%. I've got no other universes to see.
Really quick, I'm so sorry, guys. I thought my daughter was put down by my husband, like to bed, but she's still wide awake right now. I need to get her butt to bed. She's 2 hours past her bedtime. So Mitch, can you close this out? Mark, I want to subscribe. You said you're a YouTuber. I want to subscribe to your channel.
Yeah, me too. Can you put your...
It's just Mark Reed Atheism. Hold on, just grab a link for you.
Reed.
Oh, if you put in Mark Reed, it should pull me up, I would imagine. I think I'm the only one out there.
This is you right here. 2,500 subscribers?
Yeah, that's
okay. I found you. I'm gonna subscribe. So we can talk more.
I think we can end it there. I really do appreciate you've been the best atheist I've ever talked to, so I appreciate that. Anyway, I would love to continue this conversation, because it seems like you know the arguments and you kind of know your way around. So I really appreciate that. Nisha,
I really thank you for having me on. Really appreciate it. You know, I do debate. I see debate as a bit more challenging, you know, like you're challenging the ideas. I don't mind discussions as well, where you just like, well, we disagree. What do we disagree on? Like, I don't think it has to be that confrontational. So more than happy to come on again, or, you know, if you want to come on my channel, just hit me up. I'll put my email address in the private chat as well, if you do want to contact me, because I'm more than happy to talk about this stuff.
Okay, I just subscribed to you. Okay, I just subscribed to you. So, so I really appreciate that. Sean, thank you for coming on my stream to begin with, and thank you for continuing. You are the bomb, bro. You are the bomb. Kenesha, thank you again for everything. And so I will see y'all later.
All right,
bye, guys.
Thank you.